Well, hello there, everyone. It is Wednesday, May the 4th in the year 2022. Hopefully, this finds it on well. It's been busy around my house this morning, and I'm going to talk about why work is detrimental. Did I say that right? Detrimental. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Work is dangerous to your future, your financial future, your health, your mental sanity, etc., etc., etc. So, first of all, couple of reminders. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist. I'm not a medical doctor. Nothing like that. Okay, I'm just masky, sharing stories, sharing thoughts, sharing my opinion sometimes. Because remember, nothing I say is for you to follow my advice. I'm not giving advice. I'm just giving opinions. So anyway, why is work dangerous to your future? I thought about this because I actually have two different crews of workers at my house this morning. That's why it's been a little busy. Sorry about that. Just situating myself here. So two different workers. One I was expecting, but earlier another crew showed up. My phone rang, and I have two guys here working on my dock slash tiki hut. The pilings are in. They were put in like 2 weeks ago. And I was sort of loosely hoping the next guys would come next week, but they showed up today. They don't give me advance notice, they just showed up today. And they're down there working. There's two guys, they're framing it out. Two different docks. One's going to be a 5-foot dock, 5 by 12, 5 feet wide, 12 feet long. The other one's going to be a 12 by 12 dock. It's going to be 2 steps in there. I think they will do all the dock work. They will cut some of the pilings. They'll put the decking down. So it'll probably take them 2, maybe 3 days. So they're here working. I also have some folks up on my roof working. I had work done, you may remember I probably talked about it, last fall in October I think it was. I have a tile roof. I think it's some sort of concrete tiles, quite pretty in my humble opinion. But I knew when I bought the house it had a leak, or it had something, it was some kind of something. And I found what it was a leak, and they came last October, did work on both sides of the house in the front. There's like, if you think about a tile roof, this house was built 20 years ago, but still there's different angles and stuff. So you have valleys, you have what's called crickets, you have dog houses. And I'm learning the technology, unfortunately. So last year when they were here, they replaced from the low part of the roof going up one side. They had to replace, that's where all the water would drain to, and it routed the plywood there. It was my garage. So they replaced a couple pieces of plywood, all the underlayment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Going up there, it turned and went up farther. They did that valley as well, I think. And then they did the other side of like the front door, the other side over there. And they did some other work. But I remember them telling me at one point, it's father son. The son told me sometime, maybe a year from now, a year and a half, when you got more money, there's higher valleys. Perhaps you, just to extend the life of the roof, will do the same work in those higher valleys. And then that's basically all the work you can do. And the roof should last you another 10, 15, 20 years. I said, okay, we'll plan for that down the road. So we got heavy storms past 5 days. And we started having a little drip in our garage in the same general area it was leaking before. So I contacted the company because they have a 1-year warranty. And the gentleman came out today and they showed me where they suspect the leak is coming from. Is the upper valley, because they took some tile off. They showed me the paper's all cracked up and whatnot. And the water can get underneath that paper and go down and then find an opening to leak into my garage, ultimately. So they're up there doing that work. I authorized it because I got to pay $3,800. They're going to do both sides, both upper valleys, and we'll get it done, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll last at least 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We shall see. So anyway, why is work dangerous to your financial future? Sorry to tell a story, but here is a couple of reasons why. I'm just looking at various stuff on the internet too. First of all, no matter what kind of work you do, I'm talking to you, no matter what kind of work you do, your job is dependent on you. Okay? Think about that. It's dependent on you. If you're supporting a child, if you're supporting a spouse, you're supporting your household, your family, whatever, it's dependent on you. So it also, you got to work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 55 hours a week. It steals from your freedom. It affects you, affects your sleep. It affects different things, your mental health and everything. If you're a cop, you might get shot. You might get rear-ended, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to drive to work. The commuting on your vehicle, the cost of the fuel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, moving on from that, working is the highest tax rate. W-2 income is taxed higher. Like if you're an investor, you got a lot of write-offs on almost all, not for stock investors per se, but even stock investors. If you have a capital gains tax, it's been like 0%, 50%, 20%. I think it's going to get changed, or maybe it is changing. But if you have a certain income level, capital gains tax is 0. Then it goes up to 15, then it went up to 20. You have income tax on your paycheck, it may be 25%, 27%, 30-some%. And there's no way of getting around that. It comes out of your paycheck and you have to pay it. Third, and this is also going back to number one, it's extremely dependent on your health. If you have an accident, if you're working on your own roof and you fall off and break your leg, can you go to work? If you break your arm, can you go to work? If you get in a car accident and get hurt, can you go to work? It depends on your health. If you come down with an illness, if you have to have a colonoscopy and you don't get sick time and you can't eat one day and you got to go to colonoscopy the next day, your job affects that, right? You might lose that income. Maybe you need to work and you got to take off. You don't get paid. Also, your job is dependent on outside forces. Case in point, COVID. How many jobs got shut down? How many workers got affected? It was an outside force, okay, that impacted a lot of jobs. I was working part-time in a YMCA at that time, and we got shut down. 2 months, 3 months, maybe 3 months, 4 months, I forget. As soon as I came back to work, I came back to work. I've always been a worker all my life. So, you can't control that. Finally, with your job, it's also dependent on government regulations and such. The government can change things. They might increase the FICA tax. They might decrease it. They might increase your income tax rate. Every administration might adjust the tax rate. And your job, that's what it is. Because who pays the bulk of the taxes? The workers, the W-2 employees. They pay the bulk of it. All right. So with all this being said, this is why you need diversity of income. This is why you need to become an investor. All right. If you, like I strongly talk about a lot on this channel, start buying real estate, it's a side hustle. It's a part-time job. You start getting other income. All right. But now you need to have cash reserves built up because you will have expenses, especially when you first start. And even when you're like me, you got to have cash reserves because things happen. All right. But then if you get 2 rental houses, you get twice as much income. If you have high enough income, or you have high enough net worth, maybe you invest in mineral rights, maybe you invest in oil, and you get more monthly revenue. I just got in monthly revenue whatever it was last week. 2 weeks ago, it came in my bank account. I should get something next week, I think, from mineral rights. And then a week after that, I'll get some from oil drilling. And a week after that, I'll get more from mineral rights. And somewhere along the way, I'll get rent in from my rentals. Okay, so it's diversity of income. You got to have that. All right, I can't stress that enough. You got to have it because if you're dependent on Social Security, if you're dependent on your pension from a government job or the military, if you're dependent on your 401k, you're living in a dream world. Okay. I'm on record with saying before I retired, I did not trust my pension. I have a pension from the Virginia retirement system, okay? If Virginia falls on hard times, and it may take a while, it maybe takes 10 years or 20 years, but if it falls on hard times, they could cut my pension, all right? And if I had no other outside income and my pension gets cut or something happens, that could affect me. And same for you. Or your 401k. Society's been bamboozled with 401ks. If you save diligently and build your 401k up to $1 million, well, by golly, you can withdraw safely roughly 4%. in theory, for the rest of your life, in theory. But let's say the future is not like the past, and your $1 million doesn't last the rest of your life because maybe you live to be 120, and your 401k just keeps dwindling down because you got to sell it, and it runs out of money. What are you going to do? You're going to be 97 years old, you still got 20 years to live, 25 years to live, and you're going to go out there and get a job? Probably not. Some of you might, but probably not. So diversity of income. Work is detrimental to your financial future. But with that being said, you have to work to get the income to start investing. So when you work, do the best job you can do. Get promoted if you can. Don't get promoted if it's going to put you undue mental stress. Don't get promoted if it puts you in a position that you may more easily get fired. All right, but do the best you can. If you work, what do you call it? You get sales where you sell more, you get more money. Become the best salesman. Get the most commission-based jobs. Do that. If you're a cop like I was, I debated different times because money was so tight of getting a part-time job. But every time I did it, I was like, it might pay me $10 an hour or $15 an hour or whatever it paid. But if I work overtime in the police department, I get time and a half for my salary. And if I was making $20 an hour, now I'm getting $30 an hour. Okay, so it's time and a half. So as much as I hated to do it, I worked a lot of overtime in the police department because I was working rotating shift work at times, and maybe, when you throw overtime in there, it's dangerous to your health. All right, a lot of jobs like that. So beware of working, but working's a necessary evil. Do start investing. If you've stuck it out this long and you've learned nothing else from me, do start investing. Do start buying real estate. Do build up your real estate portfolio. And once you become accredited, consider diversifying into some other asset that will give you cash return. Okay? Enough's enough. No one's rang my doorbell. No workers banged on my window. So I'm going to sign off before someone does. Y'all take care. Stay safe. Love life. Keep smiling. And you'll see a future video from me out of my tiki hut, perhaps. All right. Talk to you later. See you now. Bye.